Hey guys, it's Deborah. It's been a little bit of time since I talked to you guys. I had said in my last couple of videos that I was just, there was a lot of conflicting thoughts and things going on with me, and I really wanted to make sure that I was in the right place with the Lord and saying what He wants me to say, and yeah, all that stuff. And right now is such a confusing time, and but I do know my end time job is to encourage the brethren, and He gave me certain amount of discernment as well as just understanding of scripture and the events and what it all means and stuff. So I'm supposed to shine my light. So I wanted to make sure what I was doing was right and what I was saying was right, and I took time with Him and everything. It wasn't that long, but I'm still seeking Him really closely right now. But I do want to talk to you guys about stuff that's going on, and I prayed about it. So let's go. So you see right now two planets. These planets are conjoining. It's Saturn and Jupiter. I don't even slightly pretend to be like really knowledgeable about space and all that kind of stuff. In fact, I've said before, like that's just something that I struggle with, the planets and the stars and stuff like that, understanding them. But the wise men, they gave us something to follow basically by watching and looking for the coming king, and that's what we're supposed to do. And Jesus even said, like, you should know the times that you're in, like to the people to the Jews that He was with, saying like, you should have known this because it was written in the stars. So this is something I do want to talk about, this total solar eclipse that's happening tomorrow. For anybody watching today, I'm recording this video on December 13th, Sunday. And yeah, so I don't pretend to know every detail about it, but it's definitely pretty crazy because it's going to line up with a bunch of other things. And so this is what prompted me to share with you guys, just talk about it and to kind of list a few of the prophetic things that it lines up with. But there was one thing that I haven't really heard people talk about, and I was like, does anybody know this? Like, I'm sure some people do, but let's look at that Abraham coin again, the Abraham Accord coin. So this is that Abraham Accord coin. It's basically this big peace deal. And it's so crazy how I listen to Christian radio sometimes, and they're like, look at what I don't want to say, DJT. Look at what the current president, I don't want to use names right now. I don't know if algorithms in YouTube are doing weird things, but look at what he's done. He's brought so much peace. I'm like, do you not read that the Bible says I don't come to bring peace, but a sword? And it's funny that this is a sword. But anyway, I want to tie this into this Jupiter-Saturn conjunction and talk to you guys about it, because at the top of this coin is a planet. And it's so funny, when this coin first came out, like you see, it's so controversial, like all the stuff on this coin is crazy. When it first came out, everybody's like, oh, look, it's Saturn at the top. It's Saturn, and Saturn represents Satan. People were saying that. But then I heard one other sister on another channel say it was Jupiter. And I was like, what's the big deal? Which one is it? Like, I don't know planets very well. So let's look closer at this planet at the top. So is it Saturn or is it Jupiter? And I believe it is both. I believe it's a conjunction. I believe that the top of this coin, it might be saying that the conjunction will set off all the other events. And maybe they purposely did that. Like, they could have made the coin and it's like not hidden. It's not like they're trying to hide anything. They're just outright saying, yeah, there's going to be a conjunction and this coin is to commemorate it. And we're going to set up, it's going to set off all these other events. Like you can see a spaceship, and everything. Anyway, I just want to talk about the planet a little closer, and then I'll like zoom out on the coin. But if you notice in the planet, there's like a round hole and it has rings. So I'll talk to you a little bit about what these planets look like, but let me zoom out for a sec. So if you see zoomed out, you see all the things that happen. So there's peace. So after the conjunction comes peace, and then comes like that rocket, and there's like binary code, which could be like digital money, I don't know, and other things that I don't know what they are. And then you see the needle, and which is the V, and then other things, I don't know what they are. But anyway, a lot of people have dissected this coin and stuff. So that the reason I was saying that planet at the top isn't just Saturn, is because when I looked up the planets, it looks like both of them together. So what if this is saying that this conjunction that's going to happen tomorrow is going to set off a crazy amount of events, and that they're just telling us in advance? Remember, Jesus did not come to bring peace, but what is this? A sword. So yeah, let me show you what Jupiter looks like. And just remember what this coin is showing here. Okay, so this is Jupiter, and it's known for having that, it's not a hole, but like that round spot right in the middle. Like you can see that round part there. And Jupiter, okay, so again, not so great with space stuff, but in the Revelation 12 sign, I believe Jupiter represented the child, the man-child, and it retrograded in Virgo in her like womb for 9 months and then came out of her like a baby being born. Correct me if I'm wrong. I'm pretty sure it was Jupiter. So then Jupiter would represent the man-child. If the Revelation 12 sign is like, what if that's who it was, like that Jupiter was in Virgo. And think about the fact that it's converging with Saturn, which is typically known as Satan. I don't remember why. I did some research and there's some links to why people say Saturn is Satan. One thing about Saturn is, actually, let me show you Saturn. This is Saturn, is that it's, oh my gosh, I looked it up and I forgot. But like, I guess the amount of, the rate that it spins at, and I'm saying this so wrong, but the rotation, I guess, the speed of rotation, okay, I could be wrong here, but I think it's the speed of rotation, is like, it's 969 something, okay? I should have looked this up better, sorry, but basically it's 969, and like, I don't know what it is speed-wise, but it spins, that's the number that's related to Saturn. And if you just flip the 2 nines over, you actually do have like 666. Like if you think about it, if you 969, that's its speed. And I'm sure there's other reasons why people say Saturn is hooked up with like represents Satan. I'm not sure. I know it's like within like, I guess like the Church of Satan or something. I don't know that it's a big thing. So anyway, my point is these two are coming together. The man-child is Satan. They're like overlapping each other. They're like meeting up tomorrow in space, causing this big eclipse. So I think about the Revelation 12 sign. I'm going to just read some of it quickly again, because I think this could be the second sign. So like in Revelation 12, it says there was a sign and then it says there was another sign. So let me just read it. I'm off in a quiet place without my kiddos and everything, and it's not ideal. It's not ideal where I am, but I'm going to try. It's not even very bright. Okay, I'm going to read a little bit of Revelation 12, and I'm going to talk a little bit of a meteor shower coming up, and look at the dragon. Does that not look like a meteor shower, like from his tail? And, well, let me just read Revelation 12 a little bit. If you guys are not up to date on your Bible prophecy, I'm really sorry, but you can start with Revelation 12. It is talking about our blessed hope, which is the catching up. There is a child that gets caught up to heaven, and then the woman is Israel, and she flees to the wilderness. It says after the child is caught up, because the dragon's trying to get the child, she flees for, I think it's 3.5 years, 1,260 days, I believe. And that couldn't be Jesus being caught up to heaven, because one, Jesus ascended to heaven, he wasn't caught up, and also Israel didn't flee anywhere for 3.5 years after he was born. So this is a symbolic representation of the dragon trying to get the church, but it gets caught up before he gets it. Okay, so let's read Revelation 12. That was just a synopsis there. So, and there appeared a great wonder in heaven, a woman clothed with the sun and the moon under her feet, and upon her head a crown of 12 stars. And she, being with child, cried, travailing in birth and pain to be delivered. And there appeared another wonder in heaven. Okay, so that's the first wonder in heaven. She's standing there. And that's what people, the kind of the galactic symbolism that was seen in 2017, September 23rd. I was not watching End Times back then, but I know about it. Okay, so then it says, and there appeared another wonder in heaven. So it's like kind of separate. And behold, a great red dragon having, sorry, I'm just, can't seem to flip a page here. Okay, got it. Having 7 heads and 10 horns and 7 crowns upon his heads. And his tail drew a third part of the stars of heaven and did cast them to the earth. And the dragon stood before the woman. See, we could be watching the second sign, because the dragon standing before the woman, which was ready to be delivered for to devour her child as soon as it was born. And she brought forth a man-child who was to rule the nations with a rod of iron. And I've proven before that the church does rule with a rod of iron, just like Jesus. And her child was caught up to God and to his throne. And then the woman fled into the wilderness, where she had a place prepared of God that they should feed her there 1,260 days. So, okay, and then a war in heaven starts. Okay, so this conjunction, if Jupiter represents the church and Saturn represents Satan, and at the top of the coin it showed that could be the second sign. So the Revelation 12 sign could have been the first sign, a woman with the sun above her, the stars above her head. Now, the only thing, Jupiter was in her womb and did come out. It was almost like a representation of the full sign, because the child was born in that sign. So I'm not sure if this is how it is, but I do find it very interesting that I don't believe that Jupiter and Saturn, I don't know if Saturn was anywhere in this Revelation 12 sign in 2017. I don't believe it was. But now you have something where two planets are conjoining that is like the dragon getting the child, or trying to get the child. So could that be the rapture? Because he doesn't get it, it gets caught up just before he does. So I just found that really interesting. So let's look at a couple other celestial things. So like I said, the 14th is a meteor shower. I didn't say that, sorry, but we'll get into that a little bit. So it says a Geminid, I don't know, yeah, I don't know how to say that word. It's something to do with Gemini, but I'm going to get into it. Don't worry. It's a meteor shower. So that's tonight and tomorrow. Then December 21st is the conjunction of Jupiter and Saturn. And it's the winter solstice, which even people in NASA and stuff are like, oh, it's really interesting coincidence. It's not a coincidence. The Lord is pointing at something. And then you have another meteor shower on the 21st, 22nd. And then the 29th is the last full moon. So, again, I'm just not good with, I shouldn't say not good with, it doesn't seem to be like coming so natural to me to talk about the space stuff, but I know the Lord isn't giving me the ability to share with you guys. But anyway, so, okay, so the conjunction to me is the craziest one when it seems like a rapture scenario, because it's like, unless it's just another sign that the Lord's trying to tell us, like, this is about to happen. So he's just pointing at another sign, because it said there was a sign and then there was another sign in heaven. So are these signs, or are they the actual thing? Okay, so the meteor shower, I do want to touch base on for a moment. And if you remember, the dragon in that picture, he was casting the stars down, and it looked kind of like a meteor shower. Well, there's been plenty of meteor showers, but just the timing of everything is very interesting right now. Okay, so it says Geminid. Why I can't say this word. I'm not even going to try, because I don't know how to say it. But anyway, meteor shower 2020 peak Sunday night. So yeah, I guess tonight. By 2 a.m. Oh yeah, I heard it on the radio today. Okay, it said that it's going to start in the evening, but that if you can stay up till 2 a.m., you'll see it the best. I don't know if I'm going to be able to do something like that. But so anyway, this is interesting, not only because of what it looked like the dragon's tail was casting down, and with all the other convergence of signs. Sorry, I'm yawning. Okay, but this is something a subscriber sent to me. I hope they don't mind, but that I'm sharing this. But it says, I just got this today. It said, Deborah, commenting here on this video in hopes you might see it, about that Alexandrian ship. It had the name of the twins Castor and Pollux, which are the two main stars in Gemini. And we have the largest Geminid, okay, she probably knows how to say this word, meteor shower of the year tonight, December 13th and 14th. Thought you might find it interesting. I'm so thankful that Renee in Atlanta wrote me this. And it's so weird because I usually don't see comments on older videos. I think she put it on one of my newer ones, but I'm not sure. I just know a lot of times I miss comments, and I was so happy that I saw this because, okay, so I have twins, and I definitely have had a lot of twin things going on where the Lord has shown me things about twins, and it's like twin birth, like the man-child being caught up at the same time as almost like the Antichrist being born. It's almost like a twin birth, and there's a lot of stuff with the number 811 or 118, and a lot of other channels have talked about that number and it being really significant, and it just seems to like coincide with my twins. And because of my twins, they had a injury, like some of you don't know, but like I don't want to say the word, but like a needle injury from when they were little, and it's affected our whole lives. And because of that, it woke me up to end times. That was part of the reason I woke up to end times. So anyway, what she's saying here about the Alexandrian ship, if you didn't watch my old videos, is that basically the Lord showed me that the ship of Alexandria, which is Strong's number 222. Okay, it's so confusing. I don't know if not confusing. It's not. It's so detailed that I probably couldn't just get into it now. But basically, in Acts, Paul sailed on a ship of Alexandria. And when he sailed on this ship, he had a week with brethren and he had a great time. And the Lord showed me it was symbolic of the rapture. So Paul, remember, his ship excursions and all his travels were pretty horrible. So this time it was actually great. He met people who were fellow Christians and he had a great time for 1 week. And the Lord said that represents the rapture because we're going to be with him for a week, which is 7 years, Daniel's 70th week. So basically he also showed me, you know, I won't get into it, there's so much, but the ship of Alexandria, how it's representation of the rapture. And I did notice that it was the name of twins. And with my twins, there was so much stuff, so much symbolic stuff that the Lord had showed me. And now here, Renee is saying that the ship was called Castor and Pollux, which are the two main stars in Gemini. And that is the meteor shower that's happening tonight. There's something there. There's something there. Basically, like the twin birth, you know, I don't know what day, what's going to happen, but there's something here in that. I've said before, I think I've said before, but with my channel, I didn't realize, but I started on August 11th, which is this last August 11th. No, not this last August 11th, 2019. And that is 811. My twins were born on 118. My twins just turned 8 years old and there's two of them. So 1 and 1. And they are 8 right now, which is 811 again. So they're born on that number. They are that number. My channel was started on that number. And I can't remember why I had so many reasons why I thought that number represented like the rapture and stuff. So I've done a lot of stuff on that number. And actually our brother and sister in Christ on Hourly Watch, the channel, Patrick and Christina had a dream about, I think it was 811 or 118, but basically it was missing. So it's something to do with the rapture. I mean, if you guys know that channel, Hourly Watch, I probably mentioned them again in this video, but we're watching the stars, we're watching the skies because we got this meteor shower coming up and it looks like the dragon's tail swooping those things down. And let me read here. When does he take the stars down? Okay, so it said, and verse 4 in Revelation 12, it says, and his tail drew a third part of the stars of heaven and did cast them to the earth, and the dragon stood before the woman. Ooh, oh my gosh. Okay, guys, or sorry, people are getting mad because I say gosh. Okay, like, oh my, like, good, no, not my goodness. Only God is good. I don't know what to say, but wow, guys. Okay, like, obviously my intentions are right, but I don't want to make anybody stumble by saying, oh my gosh, or whatever. So I will say this, wow, because it says, the verse says, his tail drew a third part of the star. So if that's the meteor shower, and he cast him to the earth, and then he stood before the woman as she was ready to be delivered, and then the child was caught up. So what if I'm just realizing this now, what if the meteor shower, this Castor and Pollux, this twins, is representing like him, the twin birth almost, and like he's coming into his own, like, I don't know, the Antichrist, I don't know, but like, what if it's first representing this meteor shower, the stars being cast down, like his tail drawing them, and then on the 21st, that's representing when he's actually like practically on top of the child and the woman, trying to get it like as best he can, because the meteor shower doesn't seem like rapture to me. It seems like something's coming down to earth. So I don't know. That's interesting because in Revelation 12, it actually lines up that way. So we will watch and see. Could be. Okay, so another thing about December 14th is that whole electoral college. I don't get it. Like, I don't get it. So I'm Canadian, I've said. I don't know how it all works, but that's fine. basically we know December 14th is kind of this crazy day, because like I said, we have this meteor shower and we're in Hanukkah, and they are going to do whatever they do for this electoral college meeting, which is about who's going to be president. And then it's the deadline on the 23rd. So I don't pretend to understand all that, but I'm just like keeping you up to date on that. Like this is happening on the same day. So the 14th is pretty key. Yeah. Okay. Let's keep moving on. So also on the 14th, a lot of places are rolling out their needle situation thing going on, their rollout. I'm just obviously being cautious with my words because I don't know about algorithms, but yeah, I guess this is Texas. Like I said, I'm in Canada, so I think this week, like maybe around the 20th, frontline workers are getting it. And, also, what was I going to say? Yeah, they are getting the army involved. So just like the United States, they're talking about having a general. They said the certain general is going to be helping to roll it out. And so I'm just showing all the tie-ins with the 14th, and that, yeah. And you see here, this is Chicago. It says the same thing about the 14th. So I guess that's Monday. So no, yeah, it's Monday. Okay, so it's all happening now. I mean, you could be watching this days after I record this. I don't know, but like, I'm just kind of like getting you up to date on things, which I'm sure you know, but just, yeah. So here's another thing I want to talk to you guys about that is about the 14th. And again, I don't know what's happening on the 14th, but let's just try to look at all the signs. Okay, so here's a verse, Genesis 7:12. It says, and rain fell on the earth 40 days and 40 nights. This is about, obviously, Noah's flood. Now, the reason I'm bringing this up is because I had talked about Heshvan 17, I believe it is, which Pastor Sandy was talking about a lot because of it being, okay, honestly, I'm not going to try to remember all the details, but let's just say it was a watch day. It was a big watch day. And, oh yeah, it was the day that the rain started. Yes. It was for Noah's Ark. Sorry. It was the day that the rain started, to fall. And that was Heshvan 17. So it was like the Jewish month of Heshvan, and it fell on like November 4th, I think it was. So November 4th, like the rain symbolically started to fall, like it really did in the time of Noah, but for us, like we around that same time. So if the rain was falling, he was really watching for the rapture because of that. So I will talk about my views a little bit more about watching and the dates and all this kind of stuff a little closer to the end. But I'll just say that was something that was being watched, and the thing that it was a stepping stone, and it turned out to be like just another date, like not a date, like another watch date. But then, and I'm sure he was thinking like, what was that? But then if you count 40 days, because basically the rain started to fall, but it wasn't like a flood until it fell for a long time. So it fell for 40 days and 40 nights. So 40 days and 40 nights from Heshvan 17, which is November 4th, actually brings you to December 14th. So I believe, okay, I'm pretty sure that is right. I know it sounds like I'm messy because with my facts and stuff, but the Lord does just give me a lot of insight and just understanding without facts, and just like, I won't say without facts. It's like heavenly facts. Like, I just say that because I may not be the most neat and tidy person here, like when it comes to display, but I'm super busy because of the home life I have. And I started thinking, and like my phone was breaking and I was recording everything on my phone, and then I was thinking, okay, Lord, is this it for me? But I knew you guys, not depend on, I won't say that, but like really need encouragement right now, big time. And I'm thinking I can't just leave them high and dry. But at the same time, my phone was breaking down. Long story, it just wasn't working. And so it's hard for me to make videos, and then just for me to put the info together and stuff like that. But it's a labor of love. It's just, I may not sound polished or whatever, but I'm definitely genuine. So what I'm trying to say is that I don't remember, I didn't count the days, but I think November 4th or 3rd or something like that to December 14th or 13th, around there, is 40 days and 40 nights. So what he was trying to say was, it fell on Heshvan 17, but what if the Lord's showing us rapture when the rains get to the heaviest, because that's when, the boat floated on the water. So that's something to watch, and I just wanted to bring that up, that those 40 days and 40 nights bring you to the 14th. And then I want to talk for a minute about Hanukkah, because I'm not, again, a expert on Jewish holidays by any means, but I know a bit about it only because I had learned a little bit about Tychus Epiphanes. Sorry. I'm just really tired, guys. Sorry. And so, I learned about how he desecrated the temple, and I found it very interesting because it literally was just like the Antichrist. I'm like, oh, he just went into the temple, slaughtered a pig. He did all the stuff the Antichrist would do, like as in went into the temple and desecrated it. So he was like a forerunner. So some people believe the book of Revelations already happened because of that. So basically Hanukkah, they celebrate that. They celebrate that they defeated him. I think it was the Maccabees defeated him and got him out, cleaned the temple, and basically started over. And there was oil in a lamp, and it burned, and then it was supposed to only last a day, but it ended up lasting 8 days. So they made the 8 menorah. The Lord had told them to, I believe, make a 7 candle menorah. So I think it was them who decided to do the 8 candle menorah. I don't know too much about that, but basically this whole time period that we're all like, this is crazy, with the votes, with the needle, with the conjunction, with the meteor shower, with everything, and the Heshvan 17 and the flood, it's all happening on Hanukkah. So, and Hanukkah is a representation of the Antichrist starting his 42 months. It's literally a representation of the book of Revelation. So that's pretty big. Okay, let's keep moving on. So I saw this on the Forbes magazine. It said Donald DT presidency will end on the day of a comet, a meteor shower, and a total eclipse of the sun. I mean, this is just crazy, guys. Even just reading it out, I'm just like, is this even happening? Now, it's saying will end, and I know some people are like, it won't end. I could say a lot of stuff on this. And at the same time, I don't have a lot to say, because when I've asked the Lord about these men, I've been told a few things. Okay, so one thing I was told about Donald Trump when I asked, I haven't told you guys, but I prayed and I heard he knows everything. He knows everything. And I don't know, but it didn't help me much, because does he know everything and he's decided to fight for the right side? Does he know everything and he's fighting for the wrong side? Does he know everything? That's all I heard. Okay, my husband, he is really, I don't know how to explain it. It's not discernment, but he has a gift. It's definitely, I shouldn't say it's definitely not discernment. It doesn't seem the same as mine. It's some sort of gift where he can just look at a situation and explain what's going on. Or he can look at a person and say, yeah, this person is it's just he can break down a person, not break them down, but break down what their intentions are. I don't know how to explain it, but somehow he can just get it. He can just do it. It's like a gift. It definitely is. So when I asked about him, DJ, I said, what do you think is going on? And he said, I think he's a loose cannon that got away. I think that's what happened, that he slipped in, or they put him in, but he ended up turning and becoming a loose cannon that they lost control of. This is what he said. I'm not saying it's right, but he's been right about endless amount of things. I can show him different watchmen. I can show him different scenarios, and he just says something and I'm like, I just know inside he's right. I don't know what it is, but definitely there's something there. I know he has the gift of a word of knowledge. He can go to somebody, I don't know if it's prophetic, but say something to them that's about their life. And so he's done that in the past. So there's something there, but he just basically said that he thinks he's a loose cannon, loose wire that got out of control. By he knows everything, that could be possible, because it could be that he was on their side, then knew he was coming in and thought hey, I'm going to switch sides. Okay, I don't even want to get into it, because I'm sure then you'll get people who are like, it's this way or it's that way. I don't want to do that, because I think the Lord's blocking it for a reason and letting some people be given into a weird thing, a weird idol thing with this man and with church and things like that. And then other people, he's blocking the full understanding of what's going on. But a sister that had posted a video, a friend of mine, she said that she believes, or she got a word that all will be clear in 2020, and it's almost done. Like, her word was all will be clear by 2020. And when you think about it, 2020 means like clear vision. And but there's that saying, hindsight is 2020. So it's like maybe at the end it's all gonna be clear, because we're practically at the end. And it will be, because when you think about it, like, answers are going to come out by the end of this year. So it's more about patience right now, because, and I almost feel like the Lord's like, you don't have to know everything. Like, there can be some surprises, and there's things that you don't need to know. And he might be doing this way to kind of separate the wheat and the tares, and kind of like show people their motives and patriotism to a weird place. Like, I do like I understand patriotism or whatever, but like, it could get to a weird place where it's above God. So anyway, that's just said that this is interesting, and it's all falling at a crazy interesting time. So, okay. Actually, I'll say one more thing, is that when I did ask about Biden, I asked Lord about it. All I heard was, this is what I heard. I heard, like, clear as ever, he's biding time. Biden is biding time. And it's almost like he's a filler. And I will just urge you guys yet again, I'm not going to read it right now because I just don't have the time, but read read Daniel 11. Okay, read Daniel 11. So I find the verse, where I can't right now, but find the verse that talks about, the king of the north and the king of the south, and then it talks about like forerunners and stuff like that. Before the last guy comes, the last guy is the Antichrist at the end of Daniel 11, the last guy. Before him comes a raiser of taxes, and DJ did not raise taxes. And this raiser of taxes only lives a few days. Just read it. Just read Daniel 11. Okay, so I'm going to read a verse here that is important, because with all these dates and stuff, let me read this. Okay, so it says, watch therefore, for ye know not what hour your Lord doth come, but know this, that if the good men of the house had known in what watch the thief would come, he would have watched and would not have suffered his house to be broken up. Therefore be ye also ready, for in such an hour as ye think not the Son of Man come. So I find that interesting, because it says in such an hour you think not the Son of Man will come. So if we're thinking he's coming at a certain hour, now it says hour. So there's another thing. Like, maybe because it'll be the middle of the night. I don't know. Like, obviously it's going to be, for some people it'll be day, some people it'll be night. Okay, and then verse 45 says, who then is a faithful and wise servant, whom his Lord hath made ruler over his household, to give them meat in due season? Blessed is that servant whom his Lord, when he cometh, shall find so doing. So you want to be working when he comes. But I did want to just say, with verse 44, it does say he'll come at an hour that you think not. Now, in another verse, it says that we are, we are not children of I'm paraphrasing, darkness, but we're children of the light, children of the day, that the hour will not take us unaware. So it's kind of like there's a verse that says, it will come upon them, like the wicked people, like, a woman in travail, it will base, and they shall not escape. It will shock them. But we are not children of the darkness, we're children of the light, and then that day will not catch us unaware. So the day is not going to catch us unaware, but it's going to be an hour we don't think. We're thinking not. So I don't know exactly how to interpret that. If it almost feels like we won't, like, it'll be a surprise. It does feel like it'll be a surprise, because I think about the 5 foolish and 5 wise virgins, and I think about how the Galilean wedding goes, and basically the bridegroom, he calls at like midnight, and he comes with his men, and he wakes her, like, he comes and she's like surprised. She always has to be ready, dressed with her hair and makeup or whatever is done, her clothes or whatever, and her bridesmaids ready to come out to meet him. So it's kind of like the fun part is the surprise. And I've asked the Lord for rapture dreams many times. I've never had one, and I do think maybe the surprise element is part of it. That maybe he's gonna do that. So the surprise element is like a really fun part. So that being said, I just want to close like this, because I know there's all these days that I'm talking about, the 13th, 14th, the 21st. I don't know the best. I shouldn't say don't know. I don't want to lead you guys into a bad mental headspace if things don't pan out or happen like you're hoping. So I care very much about people's mental health. I don't know. I've always found it confusing when people say it's going to be a certain day and it doesn't happen and they move on to the next day. Like, I'm not going to judge anyone. This is not the time to do so. I don't understand that approach that much, only because I shouldn't say I don't understand it. It's just, okay, everybody's so different. And I care very deeply about people's mental health. I don't think these people are bad people who set dates, it doesn't happen, like, because they're clearly doing it because they're excited for the Lord. I think there might be something where I'm more emotionally in tuned with other people's where they're at in their head. Like, I know we have to get excited. It's just a hard line, because I do think some people, it hits them very hard emotionally, and they could go into like depression or a mental illness almost. So, which is depression or anything else, whatever. Like, I do get concerned about that. I get concerned about bringing up dates and the letdown and all this kind of stuff, or the spiritual side of it, like turning away, running away. I don't know how these other people, there's many people that watch days and they say these are the days and whatever, and they are doing it with their good intentions. And some do try to afterwards, console the flock or what have you. Everybody's different. Some people can just bounce right back. Like, they are just okay with like, okay, next day. Okay, next day. Oh, next day. I'm very concerned about even discussing days. But I do watch days and signs, because what else? This is what you do. Like, there's this huge meteor shower, and I just talked about Revelation 12 and how he casts the stars down, and then is right after Saturn is practically on Jupiter, which is like the man-child. So these are things you have to watch. Like, what else can you really say? But then there is that verse, and it said he's going to come at an hour when you don't expect. So is it just going to be the hour we don't expect, or the whole day? Obviously, we're going to know the season, because it says we will. And it says we're children of the day, that it will not catch us unaware. So maybe, that's what he's saying, is that like the very hour you may not know, but you're going to know like around the day-ish, whatever. So that being said, and then there's the verse, no man knows the day or hour, not even the son, because it does go with the Galilean wedding, where he didn't know. The father would say like, go get your bride at this day. And actually, I'm going to share with you guys a quick, really amazing story that I just heard on. It was just about how when Abraham wanted to get a wife for Isaac, I hope it's the right people I'm talking about here. I really do. But anyway, Abraham wanted to get a wife for Isaac, and he went to get Rebecca. Let me back up. So Abraham wanted to get a wife for his son Isaac, and he got his servant Eliezer, which I don't remember how, but is linked to the name of the Holy Spirit. His name is linked to the word Holy Spirit, and I can't remember how now. But anyway, let's just say Eliezer means Holy Spirit, or something like that. So he sent Eliezer to go back to his home country, so Abraham, where he was from, to get a wife for his son Isaac. And that kind of represents how God sends the Holy Spirit to go get a bride for Jesus. It's like symbolic, because he sent the Holy Spirit to kind of like search out a bride for Jesus. Like, the Holy Spirit is what brings us up. So he's like Eliezer. So anyway, Eliezer goes back. Okay, yeah, Abraham was like, okay, go to my old hometown. And Eliezer is like, oh, should I bring like Isaac there? And he's like, no, don't bring him back there. Don't bring him. And remember, so it's like Jesus. If Isaac's like Jesus, Jesus doesn't come back to earth. This proves this is another proof of the pre-tribulation rapture. So Jesus he only touches feet on the Mount of Olives at the second coming with us. But first he goes to meet his bride, but he doesn't come all the way to earth. He meets us in the sky. Remember, it says we will meet him in the air. We're not going to meet him on earth. So anyway, Abraham says, no, don't bring Isaac back to, it's like earth, but no, back to my hometown. Just bring the bride to him. So Eliezer goes back to Abraham's hometown, gets a bride, Rebecca. She agrees, and then they come back together to meet Isaac. But Isaac, meanwhile, left his dad's house and went to south. He went down south to I think it's like Neighbor or Nehar. I can't remember, but he went down south somewhere. South of where Abraham was, where his father's house was. That's what Jesus does. He leaves the father's house. He comes down south, which is in the atmosphere of the sky. He meets us there, but he doesn't come to earth. and he brings us back to the Father's house. And that's just what happened with Isaac. He was down south. Rebecca came with Eliezer, the Holy Spirit, met him. She saw him from afar and ran to him or whatever. And they met down south of Abraham's house. They loved each other, got together, whatever, however that worked. And then he brought her back to his father's house. Okay, so that's exactly what's going to happen with us. Jesus is not going to come all the way to earth. We're going to meet him in the air, and then he's going to bring his father's house. So that's so cool. And it's the Holy Spirit, Eliezer, who like gets the bride for him. So that whole thing is really cool. I don't know why I was talking about that. Oh yeah, it's just related to the Galilean wedding, which is basically about, we don't know, nobody knows like the hour that he's gonna, like the day or hour really that he's gonna come, because it's kind of the same as that wedding where it's kind of a surprise. So, but you know around when she would know, okay, my bridegroom's gonna come around now, is just, I don't know exactly what day. It's, the fun is in the surprise. So I just want to like say, I don't know if it's gonna be the 13th, the 14th, the 21st, or none of those days, or time. Because here's the thing is, like I had said before, the Lord had shown me this parable of the barren fig tree. And it said, if you guys look up the parable of the barren fig tree, I've never heard of a good representation of what it means. But the Lord, like, I feel like he revealed it in these end times to me. Like, I really feel like he did. And he said that the 3 years is, because the barren fig tree, the fig tree owner said to the person taking care of the fig tree, he said, dig around this tree for the guy who was taking care of the tree said, I dug around it and tried to make it grow and bear figs and fruit for 3 years. And then the owner said, look, give it 1 more year, dig around it and all this stuff, and try to make it better. And then if it doesn't bear fruit, then cut it down. I believe the fig tree is Israel, and I believe the Lord was saying the 3 years was 2017 to 2020, and give it 1 more years to 2021. Mind you, that is about Israel, because he's saying then cut it down. That's not the rapture. The rapture happens before the tribulation. So, like in that, I have that wiggle room. And I had said to you guys before about my birth story with my twins, that he showed me that he's coming at the 11th hour, just like he came for me at the 11th hour. Long story, but I, was supposed to have a C-section, and 1 day before the C-section, the babies came out naturally, and I was praying for that, and it was like 1 day before this booked C-section. So the point is, I was told, these are personal things about me, but I'm just sharing with you guys that basically that the rapture is going to be at the 11th hour. The fig tree generation prophecy, the 11th hour would be May 2021. That's the 11th hour. But I mean, really anything from now to then is really the 11th hour. Like it's so, a lot of people have believed they've been shown it's, 2020. So again, it could be all in up around here, but these signs are pretty huge about the dragon. Is like, we're like backed into a corner. And also when you think about, like being like the Israelites at the Red Sea, having nowhere to go, and Pharaoh, like, approaching them, and their backs was, they had nowhere to go but the sea. It's like, feels like that's where we are. Like we're kind of like stuck in a corner, and like, so basically, that being said, it's in around any of these times. I wanted to share all this with you guys, but again, I care very deeply for people's mental health and their spiritual, like, where they are with the Lord, and that they don't walk away at this late hour and stuff. So I don't want you to wake up on a certain day and be like freaked out or like upset or whatever it is. Because I'm just pointing out all these things because it's definitely signs. It's definitely huge. And I do believe by the end of 2020, we're going to see a lot clearer, it's literally almost done. So what does that mean? I don't know, but it's a possibility that we have to go to the 11th hour, which is May 2021. I really hope not. So let's just watch and see these next little bit and just stay close to the Lord. And yeah, if you guys could keep me in your prayers for protection and for, just all this stuff, because now we're out in these like end times, kind of like really putting ourselves out there and, sharing about what the Lord has us to share, and the enemy's really, really mad. So yeah, please just pray for me and my family and our protection, and my, my mind to stay in a good place, and my spiritual health and all that stuff. And just any prayer requests, put them in the comments below. So I have a plan to now just make a couple other videos and just kind of just get them out all at once. This is my plan. This is what I'm going to try. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. It was pretty long, but it's fine. Some people get mad with long videos and are like, get to the point and blah, blah, blah. And I'm thinking, I'm doing this for free. So I'm not going to like do it according to your wishes. Like I'm not getting paid. I'm just doing it to like help people. And some people are like, yeah, I like chatty videos or whatever. So, you know, teach his own. Anyway, so yeah, I guess that's it. I hope all those different signs just blessed you, encouraged you to know that it is very soon. And oh my goodness, like just keep your eyes open, guys, and keep your heads up. Look up, because our redemption is drawing very nigh, like any moment. So yeah, I guess that's it. And hopefully I'll get these other ones out now, and I'll talk to you guys again soon, or see you in there. God bless and shalom.